Down where the sweet tea flows and the truth runs deep. Mama Letha's got a word that'll stir your soul and make you think. Miss Bell outspoken, keeping it honest, keeping it real. Pull up a chair, style. This is Letha's real talk, y'all. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you all for tuning in. This is Letha's Real Talk. I'm Letha. I'm your host. We want to thank for Miss Positive and Mr. Justin, who are co-hosts and who's also here with us this evening. Miss Frederica may be able to chime in, but hey, we're gonna roll with it. We have something so special for you all tonight. So our topic for this evening is a very much needed topic in the day of social media. So, the topic is protecting your energy as a content creator. And we have somebody here who is with us. We want to thank her for being here. Miss Heidi, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. I want to read a few things about our guest tonight. She has a phenomenal resume. Miss Heidi Ferguson, she is an author, professional speaker, a trainer with more than 15 years of experience exploring human behavior, emotional intelligence, body language, personal empowerment, and the beliefs that shape who we are. Her diverse background includes 7 years of active duty service in the United States Army. We want to thank you for your service. 7 years working in a behavioral health crisis center and serving as the first workplace violence prevention educator for her hometown hospital, where she trained more than 3,000 healthcare professionals annually. She is the author of The Blame Game and her newest book, Authentic Intelligence: Becoming More Human in the Age of AI. Her work challenges people to question the beliefs and expectations they've been programmed to accept and to become more intentional about their authentically, who they are authentically chosen to be. Miss Heidi, we thank you so much for being here with us this evening. We really thank you so much for being here. It is truly a pleasure. How are you feeling this evening?
I am super excited. Thank you for having me. I
Yeah.
am so excited for us to get into this discussion tonight. This is right up my alley, and just thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, we thank you. It is a much needed discussion. I think it's like a discussion of urgency.
Yes.
And we want to, I think it's good to focus first before we get to in the social media era, protecting energy.
Yes.
So many people struggle with balance. It's like we could be doing good. I speak for me
Mm.
personally. I'm working on how I say things. I could be doing good. I mean, I could be doing really good. One thing will come and seems like it rocks my world, and it literally just throws everything all the way off. Like it almost like it dismantles
Yes.
all the whole week. I've had a great week. One thing could come through, and we're not talking about a life or death situation.
No.
It's like that one thing could just come through for me, and it
Hmm.
just, and as for a lot of people, and it could just dismantle everything. And I think I appreciate our topic. We want to thank Miss Positive for that because she's been on us about focusing on things that we really need to focus on, that people really want to talk about, that more discussions need to be had. We do want to thank Justin, Arthur Justin, as well, because he's had him some recent mental health certifications. And
Nice.
and I do want to start with this protecting your energy. Like, what more or what things do you see from your area of expertise and what you have seen and what you have heard, if you could just dive in
Yeah.
some of those things. Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, when we're talking about protecting our peace, this comes from, crazy enough, from even being a workplace violence prevention trainer, because it's about protection. But I got really focused not only physical protection, but emotional and psychological, right? And really understanding we have to have all three. And if one's out of balance, it can throw us off. If we don't feel physically safe, if we don't feel emotionally safe, and if we don't feel psychologically safe because of the things we're thinking. So what I found, there's a lot I could say on this, but I think I just want to focus on one kind of concept that changed my life instantly. And when I do trainings, it's the one that once it clicks, like it just changes your life on kind of how you see things. And I call it the blame game. I do have one book on it, and it's in my new book as well. But here's how it works. So when we are children and we're born in our authentic form, right? We are just here to be joy. We get to express all our emotions, right? And then something happens. So let's say we're 2 years old and we're just having a good time drawing on the wall with all our colors. And what does the parent come in and do, right? They freak out, and we don't know. We're two. We don't get it. And I'm not parent. I'm a parent. So please don't feel any guilt of what I'm saying. I'm just saying, as humans, we've been programmed from day one, and we are very, very programmed. And when we start understanding how to deprogram ourselves, that's when we make these empowerment changes. So then we start learning that our behavior is responsible for other people's emotions. And then some of us will like not touch the crayon anymore. Or maybe you're like me, I'll get more colors out. Like, okay, whatever. It's like, and we're starting to learn either I can keep doing this and make my parent mad. Now I'm in control of their emotions, right? And then, or I could just not color at all, or I could secretly color. And all of a sudden, we're just thinking we're responsible for their emotions and our teachers and the other peers. And then we start doing the same thing. Like, I need you to act this way, so I feel this way. And we do this our entire lives. And we learn to blame each other for our emotions. And the problem with that is that we give our emotional power away. And so every time I'm like, oh, he did this or she did that, I'm giving them so much power over things that now I've been triggered because of my own past stuff. And I can't feel better until they change the way they act, or if they say something different, or they apologize, because we've been taught that's how it works. And it absolutely does not work that way. Now, I'm not saying the behavior is okay. But what I am saying, when we start to realize our behavior and our emotional triggers belong to us, and their behavior and their triggers belong to them, period. We don't need to worry about I'm not saying it's not okay, but I'm saying when you get triggered and you work through those emotions and not blame them, then we can have the conversation about their behavior. If they don't want to change their behavior, us blame it. I feel this way when you do this. That's manipulation. And we're not intentionally doing, but when you really look at it, I need you to act this way so I don't feel this way. So I don't feel abandoned. I don't feel hurt from the things you're doing, right? And a lot of times we bring people in our lives to really get that healing, but we don't heal because we're not understanding. And then we just go through getting in fights, or we get into the blaming, and then we cycle. And then sometimes we can get grounded and get in our peace enough, like we're working on it, working, and here comes that person. I'm going to guarantee you here they're going to come, or the thing's going to come, or the event, and then we're just like, here I am, oh, again, like I da da da, and then we're feeling so out of, and that's why it doesn't even feel good. It's like, because it's like we're giving so much power to so many other things. And that's why it gets really hard being a content creator too, because we're being so vulnerable. And it's like, if somebody walked down the street and just looked at my shirt and they're like, oh, I still don't like that shirt, I'd be like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't care. It's like, whatever. But if I'm sharing content on social media where I'm being vulnerable and being open, and I'm going through all the good comments, and here's the one like, why are you wearing that shirt? I'm done for days. Right? Because I gave that. So why is it different with the person on the street than it is on the comment? And that's because the emotional power we're giving it. It's not the comment. It's not the behavior. It is the emotional power we give it. And I'm telling you, if you spend too much time, like, I need them to change this or that, even if they do, somebody else is going to come along and trigger all that anyway. And I'm not saying like, oh, we all need to go to counseling and all that. It really isn't that. It's really, really simple once you kind of understand, like, to stop the blame, because then from there, you take your emotional power back, and then it just heals. It's not like you have to think about what's triggering or whatever. You just realize in that moment, I'm telling you, the biggest cure for that is self-care. And I know it's so cliche, but I'm not even kidding. If you're doing the things you love doing, if you're doing the art, if you're doing the singing, if you're taking the walks, if you're doing those things that make you internally feel good, nothing externally can hit you that bad. It changes. I'm telling you, it's not like things don't happen in my life, but they just don't. I just don't get hit hard. Even my past, like, it just doesn't have that power anymore because I don't give it that power. Because we are supposed to have emotions. We're here to be compassionate and empathetic. And I love having emotions, but it's different now because they're in my control when I have them, right? It's not, and trust me, still that driver who, whatever. It's not like I don't have my moments where I'm like, but I don't sit in it for days. And when we sit in it for days, that's because we keep thinking, like, we'll be like, somebody said something and then we're telling our friends and the person in the grocery store. And it's like, because we keep thinking if we get validation that that person was wrong, we're going to feel better. But we don't, because that person isn't the problem. It's what we're feeling inside from those triggers. And then we'll find our little trigger tribes. And let's say we don't like the lazy person at work. And so all of us workaholics get together and talk about lazy Susan, right? And so now we've got all these triggers going on. And it's like, can we just have our glitter tribes? Can we just be happy and like have those positive ones versus, us getting all triggered out? But it's programmed, and we weren't born to be that way. And that's the other reason it doesn't feel good. We were born to be our authentic self and who we are, not this programmed version. So anytime we're acting in programmed behavior, that's why we feel ick. That's why we feel off. Deep down, our soul and who we are knows that's not who we're here to be. And the biggest thing, because like I said, I could talk forever, but I'll kind of close out at this point with this. When I train and talk about this, my biggest thing is to remind people this is why. So you have to be your authentic self to actually love yourself in order to take care of yourself. We
Mm.
take care of things we love, and we don't take care of ourselves because we're not loving ourselves, because we're not being ourselves. And if you ever doubt you are not here, you're just here like everybody else and not special, I am telling you, look at your fingerprints. Everybody's fingerprints are different. How you look is different from everybody else. There is nobody in this entire world that looks like us, that has our fingerprints, that is exactly like us. And that is because we are so uniquely designed and who we're here to be. And it's not called a gift because it was given to you. It's called a gift because you're supposed to give it to others. And that is what we're here to do, is to be our authentic self and give that to everybody else. And when we can come from that space, not let the blame, that's where we can protect our peace just naturally,
I love
even when we're out there being content.
I'm sorry. I love that. Um, so let me ask you one question, and then we want to make sure I'm not just the only one asking questions. I want to say the fingerprint, thank you for that. I really love that. So if you see me looking down, I'm typing or sharing. However, just reminding us that we are different and that we all are uniquely designed to be our authentic selves. And what are some things? Okay, so I've spoke to Miss Heidi. Miss Heidi has told me things I need to work on doing, but how do we get there? What are steps we can do to not feel this burn of validation? Validation is a strong word, and I thank you for using that as well, because we tend to I was talking to a gentleman today, had nothing to do with social media. It's about training. And I was making some suggestions to him. And I'm like, my goal is to make sure you get everything you need. These are my recommendations. And he say, well, I don't want them to think. And
Mhm.
I was like, who do you live with? I said, do they pay your bills? I said, do they help you get to work? Do they feed you? He was like, no, ma'am, no. I say, we have to stop worrying about what other people think. We worried about what they think. They don't even be thinking about us like that.
Yep.
And it's not even just from a social media or a stranger or just a work environment. We deal with it internally, some of us, sometimes with our close friends and our families. So, what are some measures we could take to help implement those steps?
Right. So validation comes from, again, back to being a child and not understanding how the world works. And we know we're here just to be loved for who we are. And when that doesn't happen, because we had parents and adults and everybody else around who's programmed and need you to act in their way to get that validation. And that's a lot of people we got to try and please and do. We are in constant seeking validation because we couldn't get it from one place. And so we keep thinking we need to seek it and have it because we're still 5 years old, because that part didn't grow, right? And as we know, it's not an external thing, it's an internal thing. And it's something you have to be questioning yourself always on when whatever I'm doing, is this because I'm aligned with who I am and here to be? Or is this because I need approval from other people that say I'm doing what I'm supposed to hear and to be? Everything is emotion based. Everything. It constantly is. And when you can gauge how you feel on when you're doing something, it's like if nobody was in the room, what would you do? And again, if you're still going to need it because I'm worried about what they think or what they're going to say or any of those, and still we do need to keep our behavior in check. It's like we don't want to be off the rails either, right? But it's about understanding. Again, it's still under that blame game, and that if I don't do what they need me to do, I'm going to feel bad about what I did. It's still the blame game. It's still saying, I'm going to do this, but if they don't accept me, then it's going to be their fault that I feel bad. So even it's still blame. It still is. And it's really understanding, again, they're not responsible for how you feel, and you're not responsible for how they feel. You are to show up and be aligned and be your best self. And if you are not in the right company of them being able to, then exit the door and find your company. And that's the other thing. I would say, especially to all content creators, really, I really think this should just be your main staple, is to have a pinned video that explains that here's what I'm here to do, and any negative comments, like, that's your stuff. Take what I say, read my book and make it yours. I don't even care. But let people know, if you're going to criticize, if you're going to say these things, I may block you. Then when they say those things, just go, please go see my pinned video. Take that power back. Nobody's here to validate you. Nobody can validate you except you. It's like you just have to show up being you. And if there's anything that's you're feeling off, it's not what they said, it's how you're feeling about what they said. That doesn't mean what they said isn't toxic, but you still have the power to block them, delete it, or lead them to another place. But when we are like, well, I don't know what they're going to say, we're still giving our power away. And then we do that, and then we don't show up because we're so scared of what they're going to say. And all the people that really need what we're going to say are going to miss out because we're going to worry about a couple of people. And the people that are mean, the hurt people hurt people. And they'll validate it. They'll be like, "Well, I was just telling the truth. Well, I was just saying what everybody else thought." Those are hurt people that are trying to get their own validation. So people trying to get their own validation from other people, and then you're worried about them validating you. Do you see the whole programming and the craziness of all of that? It's like, what are we doing? Those are hurt people that are not going to learn for what you're trying to do. They're trying to heal their own pain, because they get a high and they feel happy when somebody's like, yeah, oh, you're right, oh, that's sure, oh, da da da. And then you know what that is? That's a trigger tribe. And then they're doing their thing and they really just think they're all doing the right thing. And that's just a whole other level if they're not in alignment, and they've got their own healing to do, and we don't need to participate in that. Go on those comments where people are being nice and are saying the things, are have those authentic questions, and keep moving through that. And anytime you're feeling it, you go change that feeling. I have a whole other thing about body language, but it is the quickest hack on feeling better. Because if you think about, if I said, if you somebody in the other room is depressed, what would they look like? You could tell me their body language. You could tell me how they're talking. So when you get like that, it's showing how you feel. Well, the opposite is true in body language. If you sit up straight and you go for a walk and you just do this positive stuff and move around and start just, even with your body language, just feeling better and feeling bigger, it will change that feeling, especially if it's ahead of your thoughts. It's like, change your environment, go watch positive videos, and focus on that. But see, again, we're responsible for our emotional ownership. It's emotional ownership and our well-being. And that's why it's okay when things do show up. Because it's like, because we'll still kind of drive along and be good. And it's like, oh, okay, hold on. I gotta not let the engine drive the car. I need to be the one doing the steering wheel, and let me get back to where my emotional well-being, which is why the person who cuts you off sometimes. But you know what? Maybe they're on their way to see their sick mom at the hospital. So we don't take that personally either, right? So hopefully that kind of answered what you're kind of asking.
Yes, I love that. Miss Positive, Mr. Justin, I have any questions, any insight?
Well,
Miss
I don't think
Frederick.
I
Okay.
completely agree with everything. Hey, Miss Heidi.
Hey.
I completely agree with everything that she has said so far, and I'm sure everything from the entire show because she is very knowledgeable in this. And yeah, I couldn't agree more with all of that. Only thing I can say in regards to like this topic, so important because in doing what we do, um, it's a like top priority. It's like one of the number
Yep.
one priorities because just like you said, people they project. They want to put on you how they feel and or what's going on with them or whatever
Yep.
mode they're in that moment. And that's why, look, I always say my moniker for starting a day or when I put my good morning is have a great day on purpose and not by chance.
I love it. Yep.
Because if you do
It's a
it on
choice.
purpose and you
Yep.
set in your mind that that's what you're going to do for your day, I'm going to have me a good day. I'm not going to chance it
Absolutely.
and say, I'm going to have a good day. You know what I mean? Because this thing happened or that thing happened. It could be a bunch of things in the day that, you know what I mean, happen that's not on a good note. And so now you're going to have a bad day because of that. No,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a good day on
Right.
purpose because I choose the energy that I want to take through my day. And like I said, it's not to say that I don't get in a bad mood or I don't have
Right.
moments where I'm in my feelings and, you know, I take in everything that's or some of the things that come in. But like I said, that's where that trigger comes in and I have to make
Yeah.
that decision to say I'm not going to be triggered by the things that I see here. And it's like, you know, prime example of it, you know, I mean, with like in the different groups that I'm in. And I had one that, you know, I don't know if she was trying to trigger me or what it was. And I decided to say, like, you know what? I'm not even going to respond. I just clicked the like, you know, because I try
Hmm.
to give a reaction to all of them.
Yep.
And so I don't, you know, that might have threw her off that I liked her comment and what she said. And I said, I hope it does because I want you to be
Yes.
confused. Be confused in that because I could have gave the angry face to say like, "Well, I don't like what you said because,
Right.
you know,
Because
why
it's
did you
her
have to
stuff.
say it?" You know, yeah,
Yeah.
I could have asked her, "Why did you have to say it?" or whatever. But I said, "I'm not even going to give the energy. I'm going to keep
No.
moving and I'm going to go on about my day, and I'm not going to now." Yeah, I mean, I spoke about it. I mean, of course. To our boyfriend, I'm saying, can you believe, you know, she said
Right.
X, Y, and
Exactly.
Z and all that there. And then I released it. Yeah, I let it go and I said, you know what, I'm not going to speak on it anymore. And I just kept it moving with my day. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree with everything that was
And I
said
love
because
what you said too about like going about your day, because there's different things I do to reset myself. Because I kind of come more from life's not happening to me, it's coming through me. It's happening through me. And sometimes it's really, whether you see the blessing or not, it's like, oh, all of a sudden you spilt the coffee on yourself and now you're late. But you know what? You just missed a car accident that you would have been in if you were there on time. So I think it's sometimes like when things are happening, it's like, well, maybe there's a reason. Like maybe there's things I don't know. And sometimes I've been blessed to know. And I'm like, wow, that's so wild. And sometimes it's like, oh, and then I meet this person I needed to connect with because this other thing happened and that. So I think it's sometimes too, it's like looking, maybe things are happening that we're not quite understanding in that moment. And where if we get too much in our head, then we're going to miss that moment. You know, and so I'm kind of always looking for opportunities when things throw me off that are out of the norm that don't normally happen instead of that, because we could be missing some amazing things and not even be knowing it as well.
absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Does anybody else have anything? This is phenomenal.
Yes. First, thank you for being here, Lady Ferguson. I absolutely love the term trigger tribes. I I have been trying to figure out what to call it, and that is so perfect. So
Perfect
yes,
word,
I
right?
stay away from the trigger tribes.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is absolutely amazing to me. I guess the question I would like to ask is, was there a moment in your journey when you realized you needed stronger boundaries? Because it sounds like to me, as a content creator, you can get so involved with the people who are consuming your content that you forget that we're all just really sitting in front of computers and phones. And the reality is they live 50 states over and you may not ever actually see them. So like how would you encourage someone to make that distinction and actually live in that reality?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I feel like whether it's on a stage or there's people, that you're never seeing or anything like that, I still kind of caution on the side of giving the power to those people. Because you're never really sure who's hitting what. And even for me, I consume a lot of content on millions of people who've never known, like one sentence or one video that's really impacted my life. And they have no idea. And the only reason I say that is because it really shouldn't be about that. It should be about the impact that you're making. And it doesn't matter if it's one person, if it's 1,000 people, because that one person could be the next person who's Oprah because of the one thing you said. We have just no idea, but we shouldn't be focusing on that because it's so authentically in us. It's so there. I know when I go on stage, there's things that I say that even I'm like, wow, that's kind of genius that I said that. Because when I let that flow go, it's like it lands for the group it's supposed to. And that is one of the things I really do love about social media is the algorithm. It will get to the people it needs to get to. And when you do it from, you're just to deliver a message, there's times I'm thinking I'm going to talk about one thing and then I end up talking about something else. And I don't know why, but I know it's something bigger than I understand. And that's where that conversation needed to go. That's what video needed to be made, whatever it is. But it's still like, still trying to be careful, like, oh, look, I'm doing all this for all these people. I'm doing it because these fingerprints are reminding me something decided I need to be here doing it, whether it's one person or 1 million. And so I'm telling you, it'll be the person in the grocery line. And I just always know, and they'll turn around and they'll say something. And for some reason, we're on a conversation and they're like, I totally needed that. I've had to be like, you should really teach people about this. I'm like, oh, I should. It's like I always have an audience, always. And that's the way I look at it with everybody I'm interacting, always. I'm listening to the words they're saying to decide where this conversation is going to go. And sometimes it's nothing. I do listen to kind of more victim mentality versus, how to make real change or trying to understand things. But it's not just the content, it is the person in the grocery line. It is people that we just run into. We're messengers. We're here to constantly, not just, we're always content creators, right? And we're always supposed to be speaking and from that space, but not from any type of need, that it has to be something certain. Those people will find us, just like I always find the people that I need in the moment I need it. It's just wild to me. And anytime I'm asking, like, I'm like, because I have my things too, and I'm like, ugh, and then I get the answer, and I'm like, okay, thank you for showing up and being you. And that's all I need to know, that when I show up, I don't need that validation. I do get it. At times people run into me and they'll be like, oh, you're the person that da da da. I'm like, oh my God, what you said changed my life. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm like, awesome. But then I'm like, okay, I don't even know what to do with that. Like, because that's just what I'm here to do, you know? So hopefully that answers your question.
Frederica, do you have anything beautiful? We're trying to see. Well, I have another question.
Yes.
What keeps you motivated to do this in this type of space, though? Because reading your bio,
Mm-hmm.
and clearly you're very intentional about helping people protect their peace and their mental. What keeps you motivated? Because as well as I know it's something you probably desire to do,
Mm-hmm.
I know it's something that can be draining at times.
Yes.
So hearing the chaoses and hearing the problems and hearing the issues, and sometimes you probably hear the same thing from different people constantly and
Mm-hmm.
constantly. It's like, you know, so what keeps you going? What keeps you motivated? And how do you take what everybody gives you? How do you take that and, do that to help keep your peace?
So that's a great question. Hopefully, I won't be too long-winded on this. So there's a couple things. One, I was very blessed out the gate to be somebody who didn't give a damn what people think. And my mom will tell you, I didn't even care if it was her. I was a very homely child. I was tall. I was sarcastic. I was questioning authority constantly. One of my mom's favorite stories was when back in the day when we had dial TVs, and I'm in a walker. I'm not even walking, and I go over to touch the channel, and she's like, "Heidi Ann, you better not touch it." And I like take it, and I like turn back at her, and I'm all like this, like I can't even talk, right? And so it's just, I got trouble. I just didn't care. I still was going to be me and do what I needed to do. We moved around a lot. I had big, thick glasses, scrawny, geeky kid. Every time I went to a school, like, oh, 4 eyes. I'm like, well, take it to the sandbox and you'll be no eyes. Like, I don't care. And I've never been in a physical altercation whatsoever. I was like, you want to go? Like, we'll go. I don't even care. And I just did it, and like in the principal's office and like whatever. I'm like, well, then don't hire teachers that are stupid. Like, what do you want me to do? And I was just that way constantly. And my family didn't think I'd last a day in the military, but military was very structured and what we did made sense. And I was on a mission. And the one thing I loved when I landed in even in basic training was like, I finally had a purpose. And I think that's when I first really understood the power of purpose. And I thrived as a soldier because I loved it and I understood what my mission was. So that kind of started that part of it. However, on the other side of who I was, I was an only child, and as tough as I was on the outside, I was also a suicidal. I was like at the age of 9, 10 years old trying to take my own life, and especially through teenager years and all that. And that was a very secret part of my life. Like people just didn't know. My parents didn't even understand till I was like a senior in high school. And then it was kind of shoved under the rug. type of thing. So I spent a lot of my life having to defend myself and a lot of my life not wanting to live. When I got into the military and got purpose, that's when everything kind of changed around. And then I came out of the military and I was working at behavioral health. That was very draining because I didn't understand not emotionally taking everybody's stuff on. I didn't understand that. So it wasn't until I became the workplace violence prevention trainer and I really started understanding conflict. That was like, can we just all get along type of serious. Like, I was like, why do we need this? And that's when I figured out all my research and all the years and understanding the blame game, which is why when I dialed it in, I got excited about teaching it. But my big change was my first class of, and this is self-defense, de-escalation, all the things. We've got 5,000 staff in this hospital. It's a huge hospital. And I had the ED nurses. And yeah, I'm prior military, but these are ED nurses. Like, they're tough, right? And I wasn't really sure how this was going to go over. Like, what are you telling us? We're ED nurses. What are you going to tell us that we don't already know? And so I'm up there and I'm doing my thing and I'm talking the way I do. And like, it's just quiet. And some of these nurses have tears and it's like, it still gets me at times. And I just finally stopped and I sat down on the stage and we just talked because they had to put up with violent patients for so long and be hit and all the horrible things that they have had to go through because we didn't have laws at that time, but they were a nurse and they had to be tough. And even if that happened, you still had to be tough. And I was the first person to come to them and say, it's not okay. Nobody gets access to you. Nobody gets to touch you. Nobody gets to psychologically, emotionally be that way. I don't care if they're a patient. It doesn't matter. We're going to take our power back. And that is when I realized how blessed I am that I'm somebody who doesn't give a damn and somebody who would never put up with it. You will fire me before I'd ever let a patient treat me like that. And when I realized the toughest people, because these aren't just female nurses, these are male nurses, right? Some of these people, I think they're the toughest people, still were empowered to be able to protect themselves and stand up for themselves. That's when I got on my mission. I'm like, I don't think I've realized who I am is something I can give to other people. And then I had my final lesson was not everything's a fight. So I had to finally learn that I didn't have to defend and fight everything either. And so when I learned the blame game and I kind of learned like, wow, like I just will take, like, I'm good until I feel like I'm like going to defend something. I'm like, it's not yours to defend. It's okay. And so when I talk to people, I'm always giving their power back to them. Always. Always. I'm just, don't be like, oh, like it's a relationship and, oh, my husband did it. I'm like, oh, wow. Well, have you talked to him about this? It's always no. It's like, okay, well, you might want to sit down and have a conversation, but maybe you like, why do you feel like that triggered you? Like, what was it about it? And these are like everyday conversations. They're like, well, it's just, he just never takes out the trash and he used to, and da, da, da. And I'm like, okay, do you think he doesn't love you because he's not taking, well, no, I said, I know it doesn't sound rational when I say it, but let's think about it. And how much are you doing self-care? Always my number one question. How much are you doing self-care? What are you doing? Is he going and playing golf and you're not going to go hang out with your girls? Like, what's going on with the layers? And for them to see it and take it back, I'm just giving it back to them. And then being like, okay, not saying that behavior is okay, but here's yours and here's this. Now go and have that conversation, right? Or maybe it needs to end. I don't know. But it's like either way, take it back. So it's easy for me to protect my energy anyway, which I just do. I have everything's implemented in my life now. It's not, oh, I have to get up. It's so much in what I do constantly. It's just kind of how I flow. Not that I don't get triggered or any of that. But I don't take on people's stuff. I give it back to them. And anytime somebody walks away from me, they feel empowered. And it's like, that's why I was saying earlier, though, I listen first, because if they're going to be victims, I will exit that conversation because there's nothing with that. I protect my energy from that right away and I move on. I have conscious conversations. I'm very aware of who I'm talking to, what that looks like, and I divert out of those for myself. So that's kind of how I handle those. And then just like Ms. Paz was talking about earlier, it's like you just don't react to anything else because that person, they're waiting right there. That's the whole rage baiting, like, oh, I'm going to say this. It's like they're just waiting for their trigger tribe to come on. That has nothing to do with me. I'm just going to move on. If it gets to, they keep going or their tribe shows up, it's going to affect my people in my comments. I will delete and block. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm not hurting your feelings. You're hurting your feelings because you created the situation.
And which kind of takes me to my next question in that, and I think I already know your answer to it, Miss Heidi, in regards to do you feel like deleting a comment is an act of weakness or can it be a healthy boundary?
Oh, absolutely. A healthy boundary. Absolutely. You are there to put this is your content. If somebody walks in your house and starts saying those comments to you, are they going to stay in your house? Or are you going to get them out? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you don't know them. If that person walked in your house and started saying all these things, it's like, yeah, you're going to leave at this point, right? I think I feel like what you're asking is really though a little bit more on that level of, is that comment triggering us and we're deleting it versus it just has no value? Like, is there something that they're saying in what we said or did that it can still be a moment to reflect? We don't have to delete everything negative. If they're just like, that shirt really doesn't look good on you. You should try orange. And I go and they're like a stylist person. Like, I'm going to be on their page, like, well, tell me what to do, versus somebody who just goes on and that's just kind of what they do. You see what I'm saying? If they're
Absolutely.
like, well, I don't agree with what you're saying because da da da. That's somebody that you've woken up something in them and they may likely want you to help them through that
Mhm.
because it's so against what they believe and they got a fear that's coming up. And if they believe you, they can't have this fear that's their identity anymore. And that kind of scares them. And so they're like, well, I'll give a good example. I use this especially in healthcare training. When we had COVID and the vaccination, pro and anti-vaccination, that was a very heated conversation in our society, right? And people were very one or the other. And we get like that because we have our programmed ideas that are our beliefs. And when we're very programmed in the way we want to believe and how we see things, um, our subconscious that keeps us safe needs us to be that because that's our safety. And when vaccinations is life or death, right? If you don't get vaccinated, you could end up, unaliving yourself or somebody else. If you get that vaccination, maybe it's going to do something and harm you because they didn't do enough, studying on it, or maybe government's going to track you. Like, these people this is very scary for them. These are their real fears. And so when one's trying to convince the other it's not going to happen, that's fear and it's real to them. It's their life. And so again, they need their trigger tribes. Triggers don't always have to be negative, but we find the people that keep us safe in the way we believe. And then from there, anything that's anti that, some people have to fight to their death about it because they're so scared. And they're just coming from a place of fear. And I think it's really like, is this someone so fearful who wants to fight, or somebody who's coming from fear who's really trying to understand what it is I'm trying to say? So I think it's really kind of making that decision. And if you come from a place, we know the very negative. When I teach in healthcare environment, I always say there's what I call a PITA and patient care need. And when you start seeing there's two different types, it really helps. So a PITA is a pain in the ass, PITA. They just want to be mean. They just want to be rude. They're just like, I can talk however I want and treat you however I want. They have nothing but wanting to just vomit. Patient care need is somebody has a need, but they're triggered in these emotions and they're kind of not feeling safe, but they're telling you their need. Right. So, oh, your content's dumb versus like, well, I don't know like what you're saying about that because this is kind of how I feel about this because this has been my experience. You can kind of start seeing, and that's how it's like PETA need, like what is it? And then those, it's like from there having that conversation or sometimes replying to that comment and being like, this is a really good point that this person has from where they're coming from, type of thing. But I don't think deleting all because we don't want to be in complete la land either. We have room for growth always as well. And it's just, for us, and maybe we're going to learn something from what they're saying that maybe we didn't think about either. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree in that. And especially with the fact that it could, with this day and time, with how Facebook is, and I don't know if they still are. So I got to go back and read and see how it is because it's engagement. And so whether it be negative or positive, they're responding to it, it helps your engagement. And so it's just a matter of choosing how you
yes,
respond to it and, respond with, positivity to, again, confuse them, throw them off because, they're looking for, like I said, that trigger. It's a reverse
right,
trigger. They're trying to trigger you to look for you to trigger them so that
right,
they can feed off of that to say like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what I wanted in this moment or whatever. If I said to
exactly,
her, then I got her all riled up. And so now it's like, okay, yeah, let's go at it back and
right,
forth. And there are content creators, what I mean, which is not my type of crowd of content creators,
content,
hence my name is positive. I only want to be surrounded with good energy. I don't
yes,
want to be in that circle of those people that's what they're online for.
right,
Works for them. And, it has become the norm now of content for, so many because they know that people feed off of it. And so if I put this crazy, post up here and rage baiting, it's called, I put
mm-hmm,
crazy post up here. So it's like, okay, people are going to feed off of it. They're going to start, going off about this, that, and the third and sharing their opinions. And so you respond to it with your thoughts on it. So it's like, yeah, with that there, it's just all a matter of
yeah,
how you respond to that
exactly,
comment,
right, but
have a blessed day, and thank
yeah,
you for that or whatever. I appreciate, the comment that you left in regards to that and that be that and no further or give your viewpoint on it and keep it classy and keep it positive in it because once you go over to the negativity and especially with if you have a persona like for myself like I said, if I'm in that bad mood
mm-hmm,
or something happened or I spilled my coffee and that was my favorite hazelnut coffee that I had that morning, it was the last cup or whatever, so now I'm pissed off and I
right,
can't take that online because
yeah,
I'm pissed off about how my day started and project that on somebody else because oh you're trying to trigger me because whatever you got going on. So it's yeah,
exactly,
it's just a matter of that energy and taking that energy to say like, okay, I'm going to present myself in that manner. Like I say for myself, anything that I put out there, it's like I want it all to be positive because that's the space to where I'm the one who is putting out there. So if I put the negativity out there, you also have the phrase of misery loves company. So if I
yep,
put on there, oh, I'm having such a bad day, and I want somebody to feed off of what I'm saying, and they're going to chime in and say, well, yeah, I'm having a bad day too. Well, let me one up you and tell you about what happened with my
right,
day,
here
and it's even
come
worse
the
than yours.
trigger tribes,
Yes, yes, exactly. So
yeah,
yeah, like
and
I
here
said, I've
come the
triggered,
trigger tribes,
I've triggered a trigger tribe and they're coming like, okay, I was waiting for this post here. So yeah, let me tell you about, my day is positive. And it's just like, okay. And then I'm looked at as like, all right, you're not very positive on here
right,
because, you're spewing about, the bad day that you're having. And yeah, we're gonna have to work on your personal page, Miss Lisa.
well, and to
It's
be
But
like,
I'm
okay,
still Letha. I'm still
yeah,
Letha. You
yeah,
know,
but
I just upset some young people, and it's okay.
yeah,
I
and
didn't.
so
I
it's like,
wasn't too
yeah,
negative, but honey, they done live. They done lit me up. You hear me?
Yes,
I
but
was
that goes
looking
back
at the
to the
camera what they look
authenticity.
like.
That
That's
is
all I
you.
said. I
Yes, that is you. And
I
I mean, and you
Yeah,
are, it's your
you be
page.
you.
You are able to put
Lord
whatever
forbid I tag
and you voice your
hairstylists in
opinion.
Jackson, Mississippi, where I live. Like
Yes.
they
And hey,
they
and you
chewed me
gotta love
up,
it.
honey, from Rankin County to Hines County. But you know what? I'm not taking my post down. And you know what? I'm
No,
gonna let them keep commenting. And you
no,
know what? I
don't.
was so positive. Even when somebody talked about it, looked like somebody did my wig with their feet. I was like, it was the best feet ever. See, I was like,
There
they
you
had
go.
the
Best
best
feet
feet
ever.
ever. Oh, honey,
That is talented
they done
feet.
chewed me up. But you know what? I got way more going on than to be worried
Right?
about. Y'all know y'all need to look decent when y'all present yourself. But
Mhm.
I
You
guess,
know what I would be doing, Lisa? I'd be finding, I know I could find online some brush that looks like a foot, and then I'd be on my next video with a
yeah.
foot brush, just like being like, here's my hair. And the other thing, Miss Positive, I wanted to say though, for me, honestly, because I know when we're doing content and we want the algorithm and we want the engagement, and then they have all these rules. I will sit at having 5 followers if I have to delete all those negative comments. I don't care. It's like,
Right.
because if I'm reaching 5 people with my positive and what I'm doing and they take it out to their world, it is going to be way more worth it than having to deal with comments. So this social media space will get me to more people, but it's what people are they getting me to?
Yeah.
And
So
another
for
quick
me,
question in that, sorry, and I'm so sorry to cut you, but I just had to get it out before I forget because
yeah.
I'm old. But it's like, it's like, with that being said, do you feel like that there should be a separation of personal page and persona page, or I mean the business page? Of course, the business page, I feel like, of course, because that's solely to your business, and nothing on there, everything on there should be in regards to your business to project that in the light that it needs to be in, which is positivity. But as far as for a content creator, you may get your movement from your personal page, but then you've created the persona and you're not getting really a lot of traction. The traction, you get your
Mhm.
traction on, like where I'm at right now. I get my
Right.
traction on my personal page, but I also have my Miss Positive Motivation page. And so trying to juggle the pages, like, it's just like, okay, I know where my traction is. So of course we're going to go run into that because that's where all my people are, or whatever.
Right.
Like my personal page, I've got about 8,900 followers on there. Whereas my Miss Positive Motivation page, I've only got 1,000 followers on there. So in that, do you feel like that it should be separated, that you should keep your personal page personal and then your content creation page, separate from that? Or do you think that they can mesh?
Okay,
And
before
this is,
you answer
this is,
that, hold on. Before you answer it, we want
yeah.
in one more question from Frederica in the comments. So, because I think these two questions, you can sum them up
Okay.
together. Frederica also mentioned, how does an upcoming content creator deal with not having the family and friends support while creating a brand
Right.
as well?
And this
So
is
I
good.
think you could, yeah, tie both of those
Yep.
in together.
I can absolutely put both of those in. And I am talking about starting today, because social media was different just a few months ago, especially because of AI, and especially just because of the way social media is moving. Um, Anybody who does content knows that family and friends do not normally support it, except maybe one or two, and they're seeing your stuff. However, the way it really works is your personal page, your business page, all of it's all together. Miss Positive, you don't you you don't have a persona, that is you. And maybe people haven't seen that of you, but that is you. They're not separate people. They're one and the same. And the thing is when you have A personal page, as long as you're not someone who has to put their drama out all the time. If you have a personal page and you keep it separate because you don't want people to know things, there are people on your personal page that are going to share it if it's going to create some type of momentum in another way anyway. So it's really important to understand a personal page, even nowadays, isn't the same as it used to be. It's still, stuff's going to get out there. So I have my personal page because this is who I am. And I do put, like, when I go and do things with my family or things I go see, but anything that's going on in my personal life, that's my personal circle outside of social media. Those are the people that know, they're my support and that type of stuff. Social media is social media, especially if you're a content creator. And so one is not of the other. And the fact that family and friends aren't supporting it, are we going to give them that power and are we going to care? No, we're not. We're just still going to put it. They may be cringe and maybe the girls in the break room are talking or, the in-laws are, who cares? It's still their stuff. It's just like, and then they're getting in their little trigger tribes and whatever. You are showing up and you are being you. And in the age of AI, that's where we're going to grow. And when we're being ourselves on our personal page, when we're being even on our business page, it's like, yeah, on my personal page, maybe I'll be in a t-shirt and jeans, but it's still me. When I'm talking about what I'm talking about, it's still me, but now it's that professional Heidi. But AI can copy everything. Most of the speakers and these influencers, they all look the same. And the problem is because they look the same, AI can replicate it. And then we can't tell the difference. So as of today, we start just being ourselves and who we are. That cannot be replicated, and it is authentic. And people are going to know it because they're going to be so inundated with AI. They are just going to be thriving for that authenticity.
Absolutely.
I had a question. Going back to something you said, for me, it feels like it's necessary. You said you've always been the type of person who didn't give a damn. Um, I absolutely love that. That's something that I've been trying to work on myself. I read, I believe it was The Courage to Be Disliked
Mm-hmm.
by Ichiro Kasimi. And you familiar? First, are you familiar with that book, the whole Adlerian
I've
psychology
heard
thing?
of it. I didn't read it
Okay.
because I figured I knew what it was about.
Yeah, it sounds like you did, but that uh what do I call it? That part of your character, do you feel like that's something a person doing content creation can develop to help them maintain their balances, their boundaries? And if so, what would be some basic steps towards building that, yeah, I don't care attitude that is needed so that you can maintain your self-care and yourself?
Right. So this is a great question because obviously I'm still going to say, again, that's the blame game and worrying about what other people think. But maybe this can kind of help turn it. When you care about what other people think, you are being very selfish because you think you're so important that many people are thinking about you or going to think about you or saying about you. That's just a very like, oh, look at, and we'll be like, no, I don't mean like they're going to think I'm great. Like, what if they think these negative things, or what if they say these negative things? That's still being like, you are so the center of everybody else's universe. You are the center of your universe. That's why it doesn't matter who else is in it. You are the center of your universe. You are not the center of other people's universe. We thought as kids we were, which again, that's where we learn that. It's like, oh, well, I got to be this way and this way, and act like this and be like this. Or what if I say that? And then, then they get upset. Well, then that's their stuff. Again, that's all theirs. But I think when we're trying to do things and we want to make people happy and do that, we are really doing it from the selfish place of look how amazing and wonderful I am. What you're going to do is just show up and be amazing and wonderful anyway. It doesn't matter how other people respond to it. It doesn't. No matter. They are thinking, how much in a day are you thinking about everybody else and thinking all these thoughts about them? Because you're more thinking about what they're thinking about you than you are thinking about them, right? It's like, what are you doing with your space and your mind and what you're thinking about? And it's really catching those thoughts and stopping them and being like, okay, anything that you think about other people, if you remember, it's only a reality you've created and you can recreate that. The only truth that is the truth you give it. I can't tell you how many times I've been in leadership roles. This is a really good example. And I've got Sarah coming into me. Susie's mad at me. She keeps glaring at me and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, okay. So what's going on? Well, I don't know. I didn't do anything. She's just da da da. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's really interesting. Okay. I'm like, are you having a good day? Because I feel like that's really got you off centered. Well, it's just I was late for traffic and I really need time off. Da, da. I'm like, well, let's just get you time. So I'm dealing with that. Then I go over to Susie. Susie's got a whole mess of stuff. She wasn't even paying attention to Sarah. She was just so in her head and like thinking and being like this about what she's thinking, right? That Sarah just thought it was about her. And then Sarah goes and talks to the trigger tribes about, oh, did you see Susie? Like, oh my God, did she talk to you? Or she go, oh, she just made me mad at us. Da, da, da. It's like that's how much headspace we are spending our day about things we don't even know what's going on in those people's worlds. We don't know. And we don't even ask. We just go around talking to our trigger tribes so we can validate it's us that, oh, that must be what her world's about. You are not about her world. She's got other things going on. It's like, don't be so self-absorbed that you think that has anything to do with you. So sometimes it's just like, well, I want to be the good guy, but am I the good guy if I'm being so self-absorbed thinking it's worrying about everybody else? Because it's not. And when you do that, you are taken away from everybody that really does need you. Don't give that power to the people that you feel are going to be all that, because there are people that need you. I can guarantee that. That's why you're here. And you give that power anywhere else, every day you're taking it away from somebody who needs you.
Thank
So
you.
hopefully that'll kind of help you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I want to piggyback
Yeah.
off something briefly on the second part of the question that we combined on Frederica. How does an upcoming content creator deal with not having family and friends to support while creating a brand? My humble opinion, just when it comes to business, take the word content creator out of it. Frederica, if we don't have the product that people want, they're just not gonna engage or comment or like and post.
Absolutely.
I can remember when COVID hit, and I've always written. I've never not written. I've lost a lot of stuff years before COVID. A lot of stuff that I had journaled and wrote for probably over 10 or 15 years. I lost a lot of my stuff. COVID hit, I say, I'm gonna do something I want to do. I did my book, I published my book. And I can remember somebody I dearly care for who is in business for themselves. They may have worked 1.5 jobs for somebody over the years. They've always been an entrepreneur 98% of the time. And they specifically came to me and said, don't take it personal if your family don't purchase your book.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
we
1,000%.
tend sometimes to think that because of who we are relational to, that they're going to support, and that's not the case. And I would tell
Mm-mm.
anybody, you got how many people on your page? You get a very small percentage. You do good if you get 3% of whatever the number of your whoever it is on your page. And I'm going based off what I see. If you get 3% of that, you're doing really good. If people do that. I've had to accept the fact that if the product that I'm offering is not, no matter who it is, if they don't like it, they're not going to support it. And it doesn't mean that, but I want to back up on the word support.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to sometimes, myself, if they're not supporting in the way that I want them to support me, they're not supporting.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know what people are saying to people when we're not around.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
don't know because we're not there. We don't know who are praying for us to do better. We don't know who's hoping that we could do better. And sometimes people want to do more. But I've had to learn that support is not measured based off how I want people to support me.
Yeah.
Support is really the support that they give. And I would rather somebody support me silently than to publicly support me in a negative
Yeah.
way. Or I'm in a group message between two group message. One, I think it's about 5 or 6 of us. The other one got 20 some of us on my mama's side.
Mhm.
According to what YouTube say, it's 2 people watching. One of them me, because I got it going on my other phone. And the other one is Miss Positive. So I don't do that per se for them to watch. I do it because
Yeah.
if everybody else can post stuff in the group, I'm gonna post stuff in the group too.
Yeah.
So, but I will say also, me and Miss Positive only met a few years ago. Justin and I only met a few years ago. I've been in connection with Justin more before Miss Positive. No, Miss Positive. It was Miss Positive first, then Justin. You and I just connected. So we have to get comfortable with the word networking because that's something I
Mhm.
hear from for so long. I just would not do it. And I can remember after that conversation was had with me, and I was constantly sharing about my book, constantly sharing about Velvet Book. Oh, yeah, a few people bought a copy, and people, end up reaching out to me, and I sent them their copies, personalized copies or whatever. But I can remember my sister, one of my siblings, my sister, called me. And my sister said this: stop begging them to support you. You have sent this message. They already know. Just, you need to, because what was I doing? I was wearing myself out. So
Mhm.
I had to get past that, even though I was forewarned, you know, and then in subconscious, I thought, nah, they gonna do it. No. And then the more people I connected to, the more I
Yeah.
was okay with, like, okay, it ain't just me. When we're building our brands,
Mhm.
I think it's best to build from the outside in
Mhm.
versus building from the inside out, because it can get draining, it can get exhausting. And, you know, we, I just think that we could be spending time doing other things as the individual as you
Yeah.
continue to build your brand. Then use that time to post or come up with or execute your ideas. I'm not one to like to do all this over plan and just come up with it and just roll
Mhm.
with it. Because if I would have done a few years ago what I'm doing now, or had I not taken a break, I would be a bit further. But when people go down my Letha's Real Talk page, and if you just click on photos alone, it's not 10 people out of all of those photos that I personally know.
Mhm.
It's not 10. And I'm okay with that now. So I
Yeah.
would just encourage anybody that, I mean, which do you prefer, churches or KFC? I prefer churches. Churches or Popeyes, I'm still gonna choose churches. Domino's or
Mhm.
Pizza Hut, back in the day for me, it used to be Pizza Hut. Now I prefer Domino's, because Pizza Hut changed their recipe way over the years. So I think that we just, as we build, the goal needs to be constantly building. And
Yeah.
you will find, I can vouch for the algorithm. That's what I tell people. One lady, I follow her off and on, and she follows me, but I don't get upset. She tends to engage only if you engage with her. I engage as I see your post. There's a difference, but it's not for me to say anything to her. She's motivational. But I see a lot of content creators get online and don't tell me how to engage with you. I ain't talking about nobody here. I'm just talking about what the post was. I'm like, I know one person specifically that earns their whole lifestyle off social media. That's very, very dear to me. I gave birth to her. She went viral by accident. And she rolled with it. It can mess with your mental. It really can. However, her as well as other content creators that actually make rent money and car note money and insurance money. It's a lady I follow. She make $30,000 a month between her platforms. Now, I don't feel like I should know that, but that's her personal business. But she does what she do to try to help people. And basically, I'm like, I'm saying something like stop griping because people don't like it. If people see you griping about you not engaging, like for my page, I don't get incentives right now for engagement. My stuff is being boosted by views. My personal page right now. 3 months ago, it was engagement. I told my daughter today, your money finna change because Facebook got to pay out about 16, 17 billion dollars. So it's finna decrease again. Whatever you make, it's going down because the money got to come from somewhere. But what I've noticed with some people, just because yours require one thing don't mean that's the requirement for mine. But people that truly make living money, they tell people to do something that you said here. Post the content and stay in your element. And if we stay in it, the algorithm does find you. It will find you. You know, I just think that you could have 10,000 followers. That means nothing if you ain't getting but 2,000 views a day versus having 3,000 followers. You're going to get more incentivized if you're getting 500 views a day because of the ratio based off the amount of followers that we also have too. And I think that if we just do what you, Justin, Miss Positive has said, if we stick in my element, I'm working on myself, but that's just who I am. Ain't nobody no different, but everybody has their own space and their own element. And I mean, I see my folks all the time. I have my moments. So I stand convicted. Justin and Miss Positive and Miss Heidi, I stand convicted because I get I get frustrated when I got messages in my phone about checking somebody out. And it's two of me watching right now. I two of us watching right now on YouTube, but I can't let that, and that's just part of it. So that's just my little spin on about people, friends following you. And they still support you. They just support you in their own way.
Yeah.
We got to know they love you, but we may not.
Exactly. And again, it's not giving emotional power to how many views, how many, and whoever, and any of that anyway. It's knowing that we showed up. All of us today showed up. And we showed up because we know that's what we're called to do. And we're showing up as we're trying to grow and build from who we are here and meant to be and meant to deliver. And that's really just keeping that focus and not attaching our identity to views and that I'm a content creator. I am Heidi Ferguson, and I am here from all the things that I know and the gifts I have to give them in whatever platform that looks like. I don't care if it's the grocery store, I don't care if it's at a family event. It doesn't matter where it's at. It doesn't matter. It's me showing up and knowing whether that's somebody in person or online or through my book or whatever. I'm just going to continue to show up, and not because of support, not because of numbers, but because that's what I'm here to do. And when I do that, then I'm aligned, and I can feel that through me. And then I get in the flow, and then that's when I move through life. And I live a life where I'm at peace. I have a lot of peace in my life. And even if something goes sideways, it just doesn't throw me off on when it did just 5 years ago. I just live in a space that's so different, and from that, things come more naturally to me and more able for me to do, and networking and things happening and working. That's why I'm here right now, right? I needed to reach out, but I also knew the people that are going to reach out back and I'm going to connect with are the people I'm meant to. And we all just came together from different places and different things. And we just had a conversation that is going to live on a video, that's going to live on YouTube for as long as YouTube lives. And we don't know at any moment who's going to come to this and just have so much change in their life from it. And that's what it becomes about.
That's true.
Absolutely. And you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, because I was gonna say in regards to when I look at my computer screen and and having this conversation, I'm here for the conversation and what I'm going to gain from this conversation and what I can give out in far as some knowledge to somebody else who, like you said, down the road they're going to come and look at it. So it's like I don't see on my screen how many are on YouTube watching it, how many chimed in from Facebook to go on there, to YouTube to go watch it and everything. I'm not seeing any of that. The focus is on, what we're talking about here, what's being said, and the conversation that needs to be had, because it's
Yeah.
important, to cover because at some point in time, somebody may, oh yeah, I needed this right here because I learned a
Yeah.
whole lot from this. And I got some new lingo from Miss Heidi, and it's like,
And you know what, Ms. Positive? There are millions of people who did not do what we just did tonight.
oh
Millions,
no,
millions and millions that won't
absolutely.
even show up and do what
No,
we're doing right now.
no.
And because they need us
Yeah.
to get to
Yeah,
that place.
yeah, and
But
that's
us
why we're
even
here
showing up.
because that,
Yeah.
yep, to show up, and just like you said, that's the key word right there. The
Yeah.
main word is showing up, and it's like these days, my show up and show out. Because when you have a purpose, and when you're finding that purpose, and when you found that purpose, that's the whole thing or whatever. It's like, okay, you got your group of people that are, like I said, they're trying to find that purpose. You got those of us who have found the purpose. And it's just a matter of just showing up in that to say, like, okay, you know what? I learned a lot, and I'm going to take that knowledge and I'm going to pass it on to somebody else. And down the road, it's like,
Yep.
okay, yeah, you got to watch, Miss Letha's Real Talk, because they're on there having real conversation.
Yes.
And the people
Yes.
that they have there is going to be knowledgeable and give me a whole lot of good tidbits that I can use and carry on in this here. So it's really important to have, these conversations, because it's not just a, frivolous conversation of,
Yeah.
just like,
It
okay,
it
yeah, so this
yeah,
morning I
it's
had a
real
bowl of
talk.
Cheerios,
Yeah.
it's like it's real talk, and that's why I love this
Yeah.
space, and I was just like, yeah, I want to show up for, being here, and, honored to be on it, because it's just like, the authenticity that, we bring to the table. And just having a regular conversation, it's not, scripted. It's not, it's like,
Right.
okay, I might have questions written down, but it's just like, okay, I'm not like, okay, I want you to answer this, X, Y, and Z or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real.
Real.
And we do thank you for being here. We
And thank
thank
you
you.
for having me.
We thank you, and
I
we'll
Absolutely.
love
probably try to
this.
look. We'll have look. Tell her be careful. We'll have her back again. Um,
Hmm.
before we move
Anytime.
forward, because we're gonna start closing out. But does Anybody have anything else? I know well, let me make sure. Let me check the chat. Oh yeah, okay. So Miss Frederica, Mr. Justin, do y'all have anything else?
I just want to say I appreciate Miss Heidi for being here. It was an insightful conversation. I'm grateful for the information. If you can, could you say the name of the book again? Because I really want to go
Yeah,
get that.
no,
If
absolutely.
you are you able to type it in the chat also? You can still say it, but if you're able to
Yeah.
type, okay.
So it's called Authentic Intelligence: Becoming More Human in the Age of AI. And then I have another book, and it's literally called The Blame Game.
And her
And
website,
they're
I should,
available on Amazon on all the formats.
well,
Let's
I'm
see.
telling her I need to go to do this myself. And it's now my phone won't act up. Could you tell us your website as well?
Yeah. So my website it's just my name,
Okay.
HeidiFerguson.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone is doing what it does now. It's not letting me pull it up. Well, Miss Heidi, we thank you so much for being here with us this evening.
Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of us when I say it was very informative, informational, but it was very genuine, and you
Yeah.
came straight from the heart, and that is what we need. And when I say we,
Yeah.
people really need that. People need to hear. Do you have
Yeah.
anything else?
I just want to thank all of you. This has been so great. You all are just so real and so amazing and doing great things. And I just loved having a conversation with all of you because it just really felt real. And I just feel blessed that I had this moment. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We thank you. Once again, everybody, we want to close out with something. We do want to close out with something positive. Protecting your energy as a content creator. But I want anybody that sees this to focus on protecting your energy. Nobody is worth sacrificing your energy. We have been given some very special nuggets from Miss Heidi tonight. And I would challenge anybody to go back, re listen, get your notebook, get your pen, get your paper, um, and take what has been given and write down what it specifically says to you and what you need to do. Things are always challenging, but if you're watching and you listening, I'm here to tell you life ain't picking on you. I think I've said that more in the past week to a good amount of people. Life is not picking on you, but we do have to choose on how we cope and deal with things a little bit better. And I put myself at the top of the list. I'm starting with me. My goal is to be the change I want to see.
Yeah.
So no matter what I think other people need to do, if I'm not reflecting the change starts with self. So we have been blessed. I do want to ask Miss Heidi one more thing. And then after she answers it, we are officially going to end. But I do want to, and if you're watching this, please hit the share button. But I do want to ask you one question. What is the best piece of advice that you remember being given?
Oh, goodness. There is so much. Um, I would say it comes from my mom, and as cliche as it has kept me on the straight and narrow, and you're only as good as the company you keep.
Wow.
And as cliche as that is, again, about protecting your energy, you do not have to hang out with the people you hang out. I don't care if they're your family or whoever they are. You can cut people off, and you don't have to be drama. You literally, there's nobody in your life that you have to allow them into your life if it's not going to align with who you are here to be. Because again, you are here to be your most awesome and authentic self. And that is what you need to focus on. Just like you were saying, absolutely.
And with that,
Wait, can I say something real quick?
you can, please.
Justin.
I just want to second her, but I got this advice. It was inspired by Leigh Ferguson. Stay away from the trigger tribes.
Yes, there you go. That's it. That's the quote. Stay away from the trigger tribes.
Oh man, that is go. I love that. Oh, I love that.
There you
I'm
go.
sorry, but I love that.
But no, don't apologize. That's awesome. That's awesome. And with that, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. Next week, same space, same time, same place. Once again, Miss Heidi, we're so thankful for your presence tonight. We will be in touch, and we hope everybody have an amazing rest of the evening. Protect your peace. Good evening, everyone.
Bye, everybody.